Well, hello everybody. Good evening. Happy Thursday. I am Dean the Turkey Legster, and welcome to Once Upon a Turkey Leg. Back. This show is back for the first time in forever, it seems. As I mentioned on Let's Talk Turkey on Tuesday. Of course, you may have been aware I was sick for a couple of weeks, and I did not. I was not able to do this show or Let's Talk Turkey for two times, but I'm back, and so I'm glad to be back, and I have great fun stories planned for the coming weeks, um, and so yeah, so I am looking forward to it. Um, let me say hello to friends. I will do a quick recap of my day. Had a really fun day. Um, let me go in here and I need to tweak something on the banner. Okay, yeah, looks a little better. So I'm gonna do that. Um, so let me say hello to Tina McNeil. Welcome in, and hello to Chuck as well. Tina and Chuck, always watching, always watching. Amanda P, welcome in. Hello, Amanda. Welcome in. Happy Thursday. Gloria Thibodeau, welcome in. Jason Thibodeau, welcome in. And great to have everyone here. Dave Stragan, welcome in. Great to have everybody. So, just to very quickly recap, I'll go into a more in-depth recap on Tuesday. Hey Mandy, welcome in. Um, so I'm not gonna go into that on this stream, but there are good restaurants. So speaking of which, so I had a really great day, guys. Julie Gerbil, welcome in, happy Thursday. Um, so with my being sick for a couple of weeks, um, I had to cancel at the beginning of those 2 weeks a trip down to Disney, and I was able to get down to Disney again. And I went down to Disney Springs this morning, did a live stream, which was great. Following the live stream, I got my turkey leg. I absolutely had to. Um, and then I took a bus over to Coronado Springs. That was my first time being over at that resort, the Coronado Springs Resort. I had a fun little walk around, enjoying. Just looks really nice, really great. I'm definitely gonna be, but also Disney does these character palooza things at the resorts, where they have a whole bunch of characters come in. Well, two or three characters, and guess what they did? I was did a walk around. They have a whole section of water um, that you can walk around, and I did that whole loop. And when I came back around to the main building, um, outside the main building, they had Donald, Pluto, and Goofy just hanging out and greeting the guests, and I came up there and I was able to get a selfie with Donald and Pluto, and I have posted those pictures on my social media. I'll put them on. I'll make some YouTube community posts. But anyway, um, after that, I caught the bus and I came back to Disney Springs. Um, and if you have noticing the banner, I hit, and I'm going to do a proper celebration on Tuesday um, on my birthday stream. But today, this evening, afternoon, evening, I'm not sure when exactly it happened, I hit 700 subscribers, which is a milestone I've been shooting for a while, and it was my wish that I get there, um, before my birthday, which is on April the 6th. And so I'm actually a little beyond 700. I've got a few more. I think I'm like 703. Um, but I hit 700, and of course, I'm going to keep going, getting more. But thank you all for your support of my YouTube journey. Could not do this without you. So, anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead with why this show is. Thank you, Dave, Gloria, Tina. Thank you so much. Excuse me. Let's go on with the stories because that's why we're here. And today we are reading two stories as I do on this show, Monsters Incorporated. Do 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 do. Thank you, Julie. Do 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 do. James P. Sullivan was a scarer. He worked at Monsters Incorporated, collecting screams from human children. Screams were important because their energy powered the city of Monstropolis. Sully was very good. Sully was very good at his job. In fact, he and his best friend Mike were the best scare team at Monsters Incorporated. That made another scarer named Randall jealous. He wanted to be the number one scarer. All day long, Mike set up closet doors for Sully, and all day long, Sully walked through those doors into sleeping children's rooms and scared them. One evening, Mike was on his way home when Roz, the file clerk, asked for his daily paperwork. Mike had forgotten to do it. Sully offered to do the paperwork for him. Oh my goodness, you forgot to file your paperwork. When Sully returned to the scare floor, he found a child's door still in its scaring station. Puzzled, he peeked through the door. No one was there. Sully closed the door and stepped back onto the scare floor. Suddenly, he felt a tug on his tail. "Kitty!" a voice called. It was a human child. Sully screamed. Everyone knew that human children were toxic. He tried to return her to her room, but she wouldn't go. Finally, he hid her in a bag and went to find Mike. Mike was out to dinner with his girlfriend, Celia. Suddenly, he saw Sully looking through the restaurant window. He was gesturing for Mike to come outside. When they were alone, Sully explained what had happened. As they talked, the girl escaped and began running through the restaurant. Mike and Sully were in big trouble. Oh my goodness. Sully scooped up the girl and the friends raced back to their apartment. They had to figure out a way to get her home, and fast. Mike and Sully tried not to touch the girl, but as Mike backed away from her, he tripped and fell. The little girl giggled. The lights flashed brightly, then went out. Her laughter was more powerful than children's screams. 1 second, guys. Later, after Sully put the girl to bed, he told Mike, "This might sound crazy, but I don't think that kid is dangerous." The next morning, Mike and Sully dressed the girl in a monster disguise and took her to work. They had to get her to her door. When they arrived at Monsters Incorporated, the office was crawling with Child Detection Agency agents looking for the girl. Luckily, her disguise worked. While Mike went to find the girl's door, she and Sully played together in the locker room. "Boo!" the girl said with a giggle. Just then Mike returned, but there was another monster close behind him. It was Randall. Mike and Sully ducked into a bathroom stall. They listened in horror as Randall told his assistant that he knew all about Boo. He ordered his assistant to get rid of the girl. Oh my. Randall left, and Mike and Sully snuck the girl onto the scare floor. But Mike had made a mistake. "This isn't Boo's door," Sully said. "Sully, you're not supposed to name it," Mike shouted. But he didn't have time to argue. Boo had disappeared. As Mike searched the halls, Randall cornered him. He told Mike to bring Boo to the scare floor. He would have her door waiting. Sully found Boo playing with some little monsters. Soon Mike caught up with them. He told Sully about Randall's plan. Together, they went to the scare floor. But Sully didn't trust Randall. Determined to prove that the girl's door was safe, Mike stepped through and was captured by Randall. Uh-oh. Sully and Boo followed Randall. They learned that he had invented a cruel new way to capture screams from kids. He was about to try it out on Mike. Sully rescued Mike and then they raced off to find their boss. They had to warn him about Randall's plan. Sully and Mike found Mr. Waternoose in the training room. Well, actually, let me show you this picture. Sully and Mike found Mr. Waternoose in the training room. They quickly explained what had happened. Mr. Waternoose promised to fix everything, but he was really working with Randall. Mr. Waternoose grabbed Boo out of Sully's arms and then pushed the friends through an open door. They were stranded in the Himalayas. My goodness. Sully knew Randall was going to use his machine on Boo. He had to rescue her. He and Mike raced to the nearest village and found a closet door to get back to Monstropolis. Sully reached Randall's lab just as Randall was about to turn on his machine. Sully tore the machine apart and saved Boo, but he still had to get her to her door. Mike, Boo, and Sully climbed onto the machine that carried doors to the scare floor, but there was no power. Make her laugh, Sully told Mike. He knew Boo's laughter could turn on the doors. Suddenly, Randall appeared. He chased the friends through door after door. With Boo's help, Mike and Sully trapped Randall in a closet and shredded the door. The evil scarer was gone for good. But Boo wasn't safe yet. Mr. Waternoose and the CDA had taken control of the doors. They chased Boo, Mike, and Sully around the scare floor. I'll kidnap 1,000 children before I let this company die, Mr. Waternoose told Sully as he reached for Boo. Suddenly, bright lights came on. They were in the training room, and Mike had just broadcast Mr. Waternoose's confession to all of Monstropolis. Not everyone knew Mr. Waternoose planned to take human children. He was arrested on the spot by the head of the CDA, the cranky file clerk Roz. She had been working undercover all along. I've been watching, always watching. It was time for Boo to go home. Sully followed her into her room and tucked her into bed. She said goodbye and he said goodbye and sadly returned to Monstropolis. Roz ordered the CDA to shred Boo's door. No monster would ever scare her again. One second, guys. Sorry. After that, The scare floor became the laugh floor, and Sully became the president of Monsters Incorporated. But Sully missed Boo. One day, Mike surprised Sully. He had put Boo's door back together. It was missing just one tiny sliver. Sully carefully inserted the last piece. Sully opened the door and peered inside. Boo, he whispered. Kitty! And the two friends were reunited at last. And that is the end of our first story tonight, Monsters Incorporated. Let me take a little swig of water and then we'll move right into our second story. Our second story is the sequel to Monsters Incorporated that came out after Monsters University. When Mike Wazowski was 6 years old, his class took a field trip to Monsters Incorporated. Scream energy to power the whole monster world was collected there. Mike secretly followed a scarer through a door into the human world. He watched as the scarer frightened a child. It was awesome. From that moment on, young Mike dreamed of being a scarer someday. Years later, Mike's dream led him to the scaring program at Monsters University. Mike was excited, but at his first scaring class, Dean Hardscrabble, announced that anyone who failed the final exam would be out of the scaring program. After all, not every monster was as scary as the legendary Dean Hardscrabble. Later, while Mike eagerly answered a question, another student interrupted him with a huge roar. It was James P. Sullivan, Sully for short. Mike was annoyed. He thought the big blue monster was a show-off. Mike studied hard all semester. Sully joined a fraternity, Roar Omega Roar, and had fun. As a result, Mike did well in class, and Sully didn't. By final exam time, Mike and Sully didn't like each other at all. They got into a roaring face-off right before the test. That led to Sully knocking over Dean Hardscrabble's prize scream can and destroying it. Oh my. As punishment, Dean Hardscrabble gave Mike and Sully their final exam on the spot, and she failed them. Although they were allowed to stay at Monsters University, they had to leave the scaring program. The Roar Omega Roars kicked Sully out of their fraternity too. Hmm. Mike wouldn't give up his dream. The next semester, he joined the Uzma Kappa fraternity in order to enter the Scare Games, a week-long competition that would determine the scariest monsters on campus. Then he made a deal with Dean Hardscrabble. If the Uzma Kappa fraternity won, they would all be allowed into the scaring program. She agreed. But if the OKs lost, the Uzma Kappas lost, Mike had to leave Monsters University. Sully wanted in on the deal and joined the OKs too. Mike was furious. The OKs welcomed Mike and Sully to their fraternity house. They were excited about entering the Scare Games. Unfortunately, the OKs were friendly, cute, and cuddly. They definitely did not look like scarers. During the first event, the Toxicity Challenge, Mike and Sully were so busy competing with each other that they left their team behind. The OKs were almost eliminated. The next event, Avoid the Parent, was held in the school library. They came close to losing the event when Sully fell off a ladder, but the rest of the OKs worked together and got the team flag. Oh my. The OKs were happy and they actually got invited to a mid-games party at the ROR fraternity house. The RORs pretended to be friendly until they dumped rainbow-colored paint, confetti, and flowers on the OKs, making them look cuter than ever. Real scarers look like us, not like you, teased the leader of the RORs. Excuse me, guys. Just still got a little cough hanging on here and there. The OKs were ready to give up, but Mike sneaked them into Monsters Incorporated for some inspiration. See what they all have in common? Asked Mike as they watched the scarers at work. Not really, a pink monster named Squishy answered. Exactly, exclaimed Mike. Now the OKs could see that the scarers came in all shapes and sizes, and Mike and Sully realized they had to start working as a team. Mike started training the OKs every day. He was a great coach. The OKs passed the next two Scare Games events. This meant that they were going to the finals with the RORs. But the night before the finals, Sully was worried. Mike knew everything about scaring, but he just wasn't scary. So Sully gave Mike some last-minute lessons. Mike felt confident, but Sully still had his doubts. The next day, at the final event, each member of the OKs and RORs had to enter a scare simulator and perform a scare on a robot child. The first four OK members did well. But after 4 rounds, they were still far behind the RORs. That meant Mike and Sully would have to get big scores for the OKs to win. Sully earned a great score. Now it was up to Mike. He gave the most heartfelt roar of his life. The robot child let out an enormous scream. The OKs won the Scare Games. Later, Mike discovered that Sully had cheated. He had changed Mike's setting on the simulator from hard to easy. You don't think I'm scary, Mike said to Sully. He felt hurt and let down, and so did the OKs. Oh. Mike decided to prove that he really was scary. He sneaked into the Door Tech Lab, powered up a door to the human world, and walked through it. An alarm blared across campus. What Mike was doing was very dangerous. Inside the human child's room, Mike crept up to a youngster's bed, leaped up, and roared as loudly as he could. The child sat up in bed and smiled. "You're funny," he said. Mike suddenly felt many eyes watching him. He wasn't in a bedroom. He was in a cabin full of campers. Meanwhile, Sully guessed what Mike was up to and ran to the lab. When Sully got inside, Dean Hardscrabble was holding back a crowd. The OKs distracted the guards so that Sully could slip through the door and rescue Mike. Okay, I think I'm good now. Welcome in Brian and Curtis family. Hello. When Sully entered the cabin, it was empty. Then he spotted an open window and suspected that Mike had escaped through it. Sully found Mike sitting by a lake. Oh, sorry about that. Let me redo this. Okay. When Sully entered the cabin, it was empty. Then he spotted an open window and suspected that Mike had escaped through it. Sully found Mike sitting by a lake. "You were right," Mike told him. "They weren't scared of me." "You aren't the only failure here," Sully admitted, explaining he had messed things up his entire life. Suddenly, rangers appeared. There was no time to lose. Mike and Sully raced back to the cabin to return to Monsters University. There was just one problem. Hardscrabble had powered down the door. Mike and Sully were trapped. Then Mike had an idea. If they could really scare the Rangers, they might create enough scream energy to power the door back up. Ooh, interesting idea. When the Rangers entered the cabin, Mike and Sully set up their big scare. They clawed the walls, fluttered the curtains, slammed the door, and toppled over the bunk beds. Then, on Mike's cue, Sully leaped out with a ferocious roar. The Rangers screamed and screamed as the huge blue monster loomed over them. That looked kind of scary to me. In the lab, Hardscrabble watched in disbelief as Mike and Sully exploded through the door. "How did you do this?" Hardscrabble asked, amazed. Hardscrabble asked, amazed. Just then, agents from the Child Detection Agency burst into the room. They led Mike and Sully away. Because Mike and Sully had broken so many rules, they were kicked out of Monsters University. However, Dean Hardscrabble allowed the rest of the OKs into the scaring program for their great performance in the scare games. Before Mike and Sully left MU, Monsters University, Mike had seen an ad for mailroom workers at Monsters Incorporated. They got the jobs and quickly moved up in the company. After years of hard work, Mike and Sully became the first scare team at Monsters Incorporated. "You coming, Coach?" asked Sully as they walked onto a scare floor, their first day on the job. Mike smiled. "You bet I am." Mike was finally where he belonged. He was working on a scare floor, doing a job he loved with his best friend. It really was a dream come true. And that is the end of our second story on the stream, Monsters University. Hope you enjoyed those stories tonight. It was fun reading those. I've not read the monsters on the channel as of yet, so it was fun to get them on the channel, get the stories read. So yeah, so that'll do it for tonight's stream. Thank you all for joining. Thank you for excuse me, putting up with my coughs. Hopefully I can get that to clear up before next week. So next Thursday, more Once Upon a Turkey Leg, more stories. I don't remember what I have scheduled for next week, but it's gonna be good. So join me then. Join me Tuesday. It's gonna be my birthday celebration stream, and as well as celebrating again that 700 subscribers milestone that I just hit today. So make sure to make plans. Yeah, make sure to make plans to join me. And there may also be I may also be out and about at Disney somewhere next Wednesday. I think I've got this stream scheduled, but I will talk about that on Tuesday. Specifically, uh, what and when and where that's going to be. So, stay tuned for that. So guys, have a gobbletastic night. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.